Welcome back, everyone, to the GGBL. If you missed the World Series, or the Gold Series as a lot of people like to call it, you are seeing the results up on your screen. 4-1, Carolina beats Seattle, and it's official. We are going to be moving on to the off-season. First things first, we do have some coaching staff vacancies that do have to be taken care of, so this is all part of phase 1 of the off-season. We've also got other coaching vacancies as well for many teams as far as their hitting coaches and their base coaches. So we'll do that in this phase. We'll talk about some things regarding voting for new stadiums and voting for new uniforms and new logos. I think we're pretty much maxed out, though, on all of that. And I'm going to reveal to you guys the new logo for the Dallas Hatters as well as a new jersey. So you guys voted on the Dallas Hatters as getting both of those. So we're going to look at that as well. Qualifying offers, we got to look at that. And then, of course, we've got the retirees. So these are going to be players that are not going to be able to come over from the major leagues as well. So a couple players that you see here like George Springer, Eric Hosmer, John Lester was actually in the GGBL. Let's see other players like, for example, Hanser Alberto, Ian Anderson. Let's see if we can find other players that are like noteworthy players like Xander Bogaerts. He's retiring. Poor free agent market. So you can kind of get the idea here. Corbin Burns. I wanted to bring these guys over eventually down the line at some point in our save file here for the GGBL, but it was just not gonna work. I think this is gonna be the last calendar year of the league. And I've mentioned that before, so I'm hoping this is, as we head into year number 4, I think we can get at least maybe 6 total seasons in before we officially call the series good and done. Now, I want to know in the comment section or the live chat here what you guys want to do about this league. If, like I said before, if we get down to a point with this league where it's only getting about maybe 100 views or something like that, maybe it's time to kind of move it over to Twitch or something and keep the series running for those diehards that really want to keep it going. But I think just moving forward, taking up the algorithm space on YouTube, you got to make some tough calls. Really, you got to take some tough calls. Time investment as well. So if we want it to be nice and casual, we can keep this thing running. I don't necessarily want to end the series, but I think at some point it's going to come down to having to make that tough call. It's going to be on life support. You got to pull the plug on some things. And as much as I hate to say it, it's eventually going to happen. It's down the road. As far as we can kick the can down the road, we're going to keep going with it. Year 4, year 5, year 6. Hopefully it still stays intact by the end of 2022. We'll see how this series is going by the end of that, and then we'll have to make some tough calls. But I do want to know what your guys' opinion is on it. I don't think that I'm going to be doing something like this in MLB The Show 22. I'll have to get my hands on 22, see how easy it is, and maybe we get a little bit of a reboot. I don't know. I have no idea what we want to do with this series. So you guys post in the comment section below. But we will for sure be having a season 4. Otherwise, we wouldn't have posted this video. But let's talk about the exclusive free agents one more time. And if you guys needed a reminder, you got Donaldson, Blake Parker, Chirinos. They're losing those guys to free agency. Luckily, New Orleans isn't losing anyone. St. Louis is going to be losing Darnell Sweeney, Jake Arrieta, and Nate Jones at 56, 68, and 79 overall, respectively. Those guys are headed towards free agency. There's nothing you can do. You're not going to be able to re-sign those guys. So they will be electing to test free agent market. Now, the thing that we implemented in last season was to kind of, allow teams to have a chance at not losing their top players. So if I scroll through here, kind of get a good idea of who's losing who. But you can see that Nick Castellanos is probably going to be a big name here in this free agent market. But let's see if we can find somebody that is an 85 plus overall. Now, by the way, this Alexander King, not the real guy. So I do have to try to get him to get knocked down so players or teams don't go after him. But it doesn't look like anybody is an 85 plus overall. And really what we were trying to do in that ruling is that any player that's headed to exclusive free agency that can't be re-signed, basically, because that's what this is all about. Players that you see here are going to free agency. There's nothing you can do. So anybody that's an 85 plus overall rating, they can go back to the team that they were formerly on, only if that team lands on them during the wheel spin. So teams that are losing their 85 plus overall will have 5 extra pieces to the wheel spin to try and win them back. So that is how that's going to work. But as you guys can see, we did this last season, but there aren't any players in the exclusive free agent list here that's an 85 plus overall rating. And the reason, again, why we're doing that is we're trying to make sure that these teams that are losing like key integral pieces of their team have a chance at getting them back. So luckily for us, we don't have to do that this season. Last season's example, for example, was Tim Anderson was in the free agent market. So the deal with Tim Anderson is that he came from Colorado, the Coyotes. Coyotes lost him. They tried to get him back. They lost him to New Orleans. New Orleans actually had to give up their number 1 or their first round draft pick over to Colorado to kind of make up for that. So he was a qualifying free agent. So if you want to throw that in, we've got players here that are qualified, like Darnell Sweeney. If he signs, someone's going to be able to get a draft pick out of him, right? So that's kind of what we're trying to capture with this type of strategy or this type of move. So that's how that's going to work. Now, you saw some of the free agents. These guys are all going to head to the market. So big names here: Donaldson, Sweeney, Alfaro. Let's see some other names here real quick. You got Yasiel Puig would be a pretty big name in this league. Keon Broxton would be a nice one. Covey, Odorizzi, that's a big one to lose for Minnesota. You've got Eichhoff at a 78. He's not going to be too bad. So there's going to be some pretty decent players headed out towards free agency. Plus you got Miles McCullough and Nick Goody. It's a big loss there for Boston. But so I'm going to go ahead and let those guys go. Let those guys walk. We don't have to sign anybody there. But I do have to take care of the staff for all of the teams here, and so we'll work on that. All right, so part of this phase is you guys got to vote on the new uniform and new logo recipient. Which team is going to get a new logo and a new fresh rebrand? And it was the Dallas Hatters. So I kind of like their look. It was a little bit different. It was kind of out of the box, I realized, but they were voted as the team that you guys wanted to see getting a rebrand for jerseys and logos. So there we go. But now if you guys wanted to go find these in the vault, you can do that. If you just click the square button and just type in GGBL, they'll be readily available for you. Just hit that square button again, and there you go. So there's Dallas for you, made by Kasabe. We also made the Seattle upgrade as well. Cranges McBeeball is another guy that helped us out with a lot of the logos, so shout out to him. Spagoo. And I don't think I've ever shown you guys this stuff, but let's see if I can find Sprohammer. I think Sprohammer made a lot of these GGBL. I don't think he titled them GGBL. Doesn't look like he did. But if you guys search Sprohammer into your search bar, you should be able to find him. I think Kasabe and Cranges, both those guys titled all of their creations GGBL as far as the title goes. So if you guys wanted to find those logos, you can by doing that. But since I've already downloaded them, let's go ahead and delete these and do a little reveal type thing, guys. Let's do this thing, all right? So load it up, and let's see what the logo is. This is it. The other one was the text. So let's see what we got here. Let's delete this, and there you go. So there is the D and the H. Can you guys see it? Can you see it? There's a D and an H there. It's interlocked. And if you look at it really closely, the star, kind of like the Minnesota North Stars in hockey, it's a concept, right? So this is the eye of the baseball player. So the D right there is the ball cap. The H, like the little the corner here, the bend, that's the face. So it's a baseball player looking up. There you go. So he's got a little hat on too. So the Dallas Hatters. It's perfect. The star in there as well for Dallas. Dude, it's just the Lone Star State, the one star. Dude, it's just perfect. Kasabe, you're a genius. He came up with this concept himself, and that's the one we're going to use. So let's go ahead and create the uniforms. I'll tell you guys how this is all going to look. They're ready to go here for this season. All right, guys, and there's the reveal. You've got the Dallas Hatters new look here, the white uniform. That's the home, obviously, and then the away uniform is going to be this masterpiece right here. So you got the gray. The last time that we had the Hatters, they had all black, and they had the green stripes up top on the shoulders, the little retro look there. Obviously, this is a more traditional look, but with a little bit of a futuristic side of things with that number font, and of course the font here with Dallas, and then the hat logo with the D and the H there. Now with the home, I know that the star right there is kind of hard to see. It's white, and I'm actually open to the idea of changing the jersey to green. So if we change the jersey to green, obviously some things will kind of be harder to see with the outline of the D and the H there. With orange, it would pop out a little bit better, I think, the star at least. But I think this is good. I think this is all right. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. I think it looks pretty cool. It'll probably look a lot better in gameplay, I'm sure. But I also changed the cleats to white, so you got the white cleats with the green and orange there. So it kind of looks like the Oakland Athletics a little bit, but a little bit of a different little touch there. So cool thing. I think the Dallas Hatters are going to look good in gameplay. I think they're going to look a lot better than what they did initially. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section. So thank you again to Kasabe for making this logo. I think it's going to be really cool looking inside of the gameplay for Dallas. I think it's going to be awesome to see them kind of rebranded and refreshed. You guys, again, you know the process by now. You know the drill. You've done this 3 times before. You get to vote on who you need to see get another rebrand. So you got other teams listed here that you feel like need to get a new logo, a fresh new look, a fresh uniform set, and then as well as another stadium, or a new stadium, I should say. So you've got teams such as Minnesota, Indiana, just naming those 2 teams right off the get-go. Teams that you think need a new stadium, I will go in and find stadiums that have been made across the MLB The Show community that kind of fit the style or fit the location of those teams that you guys vote on. I'm going to do 2 stadiums this season because I think with the kind of knowing how this series is going, I think we kind of needed to move and get some new things with a little more rapid pace here. So let's think about maybe getting 2 teams a new stadium here in this season number 4. So guys, I've saved our progress here, so I don't want to lose what we did for Dallas here, but I have not signed people up on contracts for coaching staff. That's because I want to get you guys to be able to see who's in the free agent market. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to simulate to free agency, and that way you can kind of get a picture on what we're going to be doing here for the next phase. Now for arbitration, I've talked about this one before. Arbitration is totally up to me on what I want to do with these teams. So for example, guy like Nick Madrigal, I think Dallas would really like to keep Nick Madrigal around at 28. No, second base, sorry. Well, he's 27, so he's a year off. But 27-year-old, B potential, 83 overall second baseman. I don't think you can let a guy like that go. Cody Wilson, another guy that you really want to sign up for sure. Let's take a look over here at my good boys real quick because I can kind of speak to them a little bit. Justin Steele, I really don't want to let him go. Aaron Ashby, probably not. These are good overalls for this league. Hunter Wood, possibly. I think we could possibly let him go, even though he had, he had a bad year. I was going to say he had a pretty decent run, decent years for us, but this last season was pretty bad. So I think I'm going to let him go. 30-year-old reliever. I think he goes bye-bye. Ramon Urias, a 29-year-old, 254. We've got a logjam up in the middle infield side of things, so I think I can let him go. I think that's not going to be a big loss for us. So really, I gotta go through this and manage and determine based on the team, like what would they do? Like Shea Langoliers, I'm not going to let him walk to free agency. I think Miami, that would be doing Miami really dirty, and I think we got to go after him and bring him back here. Luis Toribio, got to bring him back no matter what. LeCastro, I think he's important to the Firebirds. Clay Holmes. Barreto, I think they could let him go possibly. They've got a couple infielders like Mario Mazza is probably going to come up. He's 22, good potential. They've also got another guy, Paxton. Paxton, what is it? Hold on a second. Let's go check this out. Check this out here. It's Paxton Dallas. There you go. So he's a shortstop. Can play third base a little bit too. So he's kind of important as that infielder for him. So really, when it comes to arbitration, I have to go through and determine like what's the best move for each and every team out of 30 teams. So that's what I'm going to do. I'll give you guys a recap here in the next video during the live stream. I'll talk about this and what I decided to do. Now for tendering contracts, it's the same thing here as well. So I have to go through and make sure that everybody is signed up. Now I am not going to sign anybody under the 60 overall range unless they have a B potential. So that's really what I'm going to go through. Anybody that's 60 plus, you're going to be offered a contract. Anybody 60 below, like Taylor Jones and Chad Crow, you guys aren't coming back. It's going to be this guy, Freddie Castro, because he's got a B potential. That's kind of explain that. But let's talk about free agency real quick. 40-man roster. Again, I like to keep this empty. I don't like to sign people or put guys up on the 40-man, because once you do free agency, that kind of really throws a monkey wrench in who you're going to call up and call down. But let's dive into free agency, get you guys a preview of what we're looking at here. So you got Reyes Maranta as the best or the highest overall rated player in this free agent class. So it's pretty weak. It's pretty weak. I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to be a little bit of a lackluster free agent market. But that's not to say that it's not going to be impactful. You know what I mean? There's going to have to be players that go over to teams that make an impact, such as Yu Darvish, who's going to get Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson's no slouch here in this league, although he's seeing some regression because he's 38, but the guy did hit 24 home runs. So anybody that needs kind of a little bit of pop here in their 5, 6, maybe even 7 hole, Donaldson might be your guy. Darnell Sweeney, really good speed numbers. How many stolen bases do you have? 24? Since we started this series, he's had 32, 28, 24. He's got some really good stealing numbers. He's putting up double digits in home runs. So 30 doubles. I mean, this guy's a good player. Darnell Sweeney should fetch a pretty good contract for him. And I think that anybody that gets this good outfielder is gonna really like that. But let's talk about real quick Nick Castellanos. I think he's going to probably be the most coveted player in this free agent class. A 98 contact against lefties, 89 power against lefties as well. He's looking more like a designated hitter, like a DH type of guy. Maybe a first baseman, could be a third baseman. I wouldn't put him at third base, but maybe first base DH. So Castellanos just coming off of a really stellar season, even 299 to 301. Like these past few seasons for him, 45, 40, 41. I mean, these are career highs for him in home run totals since coming to the GGBL. 100 RBI type of seasons there out in LA. Now, depending on where he goes, he could see a little bit of a dip off in the production because you were playing for LA. Now, wherever you go, it's probably not going to be, a lot of run opportunities for you, RBI opportunities. But could be a really good player, obviously, for anybody that takes the chance on him. So, free agent class, like I mentioned, just a little bit on the softer side of things. But I wanted to talk about some players here that, I kind of screwed up as well. So, this guy like Willie Escobar, right? He's a 74A, 22 aged player. This is not a custom prospect. This is a guy that was in the draft. I forgot to sign the draft class, so that was me. I screwed up on that. Another player here like Brian Villanueva, a closer. I would basically take him and turn him into a custom prospect pitcher. And really what we're going to do is I'm going to actually rename these players. And what we're going to do is we're going to avoid these guys when we do our free agency. So we're not going to put offers in as far as free agency goes. We're going to make these guys custom prospects or custom players. I'm going to sign them up onto teams. I'm going to rename them. And then that way we can actually run our GGBL draft through the free agency. So basically I'll just put an offer in on the team that they get drafted by. So if that makes sense, like this guy, Thomas Baker, I'll just change his potential. Really, that's what it comes down to. Change the ratings, make sure that he's a custom prospect, a 70B or a 75A or whatever he needs to be. But I'll move him over to a team like the Chicago Breeze if that's where he landed on the wheel spin. I'll rename him up. He'll be available here at this screen, and we'll just make an offer from Chicago and get him signed up. And that's how we'll run that. Because I think it's kind of cool to do it this way, because then you can kind of see them right? You can see the player that they're taking over or who they are, actually. And we're going to do that as a live stream. Now, one thing that I did find out, the reason why I kind of want to do it this way going forward is something that we figured out, me, Portugal, Dalton, we did a ton of testing on this. And really what we figured out, guys, is if you look at the hot-cold zones, the hot-cold zones have so much to do with how that player is going to perform in gameplay. So if you take, for example, let's just go to a player here. I'm trying to think of a player who just doesn't hit well in gameplay. Let's go to like Xander Pollock, if I can remember where Xander Pollock went. He went to Pittsburgh, I think. Let's go to Xander Pollock real quick. So Xander Pollock, look at his hot and cold zones, right? He's got a ton of power. That's the player mold, the player model that he wanted to be. He wanted to be a 73. He wanted to be a power hitter, low contact guy, but he wanted to have some good pop, good fielding numbers, the whole kit and caboodle, right? Well, his hot and cold zones are so bad, and in gameplay, the only way that those things get hotter or colder, it can go both ways, is through gameplay. So no matter what he does in simulation, this doesn't change. Those hot and cold zones don't change, but it does carry over into gameplay. So if we look at like Kenneth Alexander Jr., who just sucks in gameplay, like look at his hot and cold zones. You see that? That's why he can't hit lefties. But against righties, he does pretty well. He holds his own. But look at what happened to him during the season. -10 in contact against lefties. Because in gameplay, his hot and cold zones dictated that. But the only way to change it, the only way to change the hot and cold zones for either left and right is if you do it in gameplay. So the best way to do this, guys, is to not, and I think we kind of lucked into this, is really what I'm getting at here. The best way to do this is if you have a team like Seattle, they've drafted a bunch of players, and you sign those players during the season, like after June, July, August, September, whenever you sign them up, that's who I've been like renaming and editing and changing, but you can't change their hot and cold zones. So whoever you took over, whoever I'm gonna make, let's say like this guy, like Austin Bosser. No, he's real. Let's say like Terrence Armstrong, right? So this catcher, Terrence Armstrong. Whoever Seattle drafted, let's say it's a first baseman. I take Terrence Armstrong here and I change him into a first baseman. I rename him. I do whatever I need to do. Make him a new face, new facial features, all that. New bat, new stance, blah, blah, blah. Those hot and cold zones stay the same, left and right. He will carry that into gameplay. No matter what statistics I give him, if I add 20 to contact or 30 to power, right? He gets up to 50 to 60. He's going to carry those hot and cold zones into gameplay, no matter what he does during the season. So what's cool about this whole process is that I get to go through, rather than being strictly tied to whoever Seattle drafted, they could draft a bunch of hitters that just have a bunch of cold zones, and then you're just kind of screwed at that point. So what's cool about this is that I actually can go find players like this, for example, like Ken Endo. Look at his hot and cold zones. This guy's going to be a good hitter because the hot and cold zones are really good. So whoever drafted, a first baseman, like I can change this guy. I can be like, you're not Ken Endo anymore. You're Doug Gold, and that's who you're gonna be. And you were drafted by Seattle, and that's where you're going, right? Or you were drafted by Miami or whatever. So if that's how it's gonna work, that's how it's gonna work. Let's take a look at another guy like Leroy Seals. Look at his hitting against righties. Super good, right? He'd be a guy that I'd like to rename. A guy like this guy, Keith Sanguian. Probably not. I probably would avoid him like the plague because I can't change those hot and cold zones. He's kind of just going to have to be on his own at that point. Richie Hernandez. I want to stay away from him. He's got a couple good hot zones, but not a lot. Want to stay away from him. Eddie Cairo, I don't know, maybe if there's something that's not as good, but this guy for sure, like Aaron Bracho, don't pick him, don't touch him. But if this was a guy that was drafted by Seattle and he was the only position player that I could rename, then whoever had the custom player for Seattle, he'd get screwed. He would never do anything in gameplay. He would get absolutely just boned. So, you know, we gotta be on board with this type of way. Don't sign anybody from the draft class. Put all these drafted players into free agency. That way I can see their hot cold zones, and I can rename them from here, and I can like pick and choose which guys are going to be which, right? So like Fernando Bermudez, like I'm probably not touching him. There's a little too much cold there. I'm probably not touching him. Alfredo Garcia, probably not touching him either. Definitely not. Colton Shaver, definitely. Well, he's 27, so I wouldn't be doing that. Doug Workman, probably not touching that. So yeah, just a quick example of, you know, what we're looking at here and how we're gonna operate this. Like this guy 21, Vinny Calderon, don't touch him. So that's gonna do it, guys. Leave a like if you like this thing, and just as a reminder, Sunday night at 9 p.m. we're gonna be doing the GGBL Draft first. So the custom prospects I'm gonna go out and create tonight and get that ready for y'all by Sunday. So we're going to do the draft just like we've always done it. Do the wheel spins first for the $20 patrons, then to the 10s, then to the 5s, then to the 3s, then move into the prize winners as well. And then after that on Sunday night, we'll be done and we'll move into the free agent wheel spin next Wednesday night at 9 p.m. So that's kind of the schedule here for the GGBL. That's all I got for you guys tonight. Again, I'll be sending out reminders. I'll kind of give you guys an update again on how this is all working. I want to be very transparent in how it's working and no confusion. That way you guys are all along for the ride. So guys, leave a like if you like this thing. I'll see you on Sunday night for the GGBL drafts at 9 p.m. See you guys then. As always, thanks for watching and peace.